Miss Ashford, Darian Cole, we have a 9-way meeting about the Series C investment.
Excuse me, who let you in here? This is a private meeting for serious investors, not for people like you. Security, get this man out of here before I call the police.
The Four Seasons lobby gleams with soft morning light, marble floors reflecting the glow from towering windows that overlook the city. The air smells faintly of polished wood, fresh flowers, and quiet money. Victoria Ashford stands near the windows like she belongs there, because in her mind, she always has. Her pressed Chanel suit fits her perfectly, sharp lines and muted elegance announcing power without needing to say a word. She laughs lightly with two German investors, her voice smooth, controlled, and practiced, the kind of laugh designed to signal confidence without warmth. Every movement she makes is deliberate, curated, refined. A black man in a navy polo shirt steps into the scene, walking toward her with measured confidence. He carries a leather portfolio tucked under his arm, worn but well cared for, the kind that has traveled through real boardrooms, not just photographed ones. His posture is calm, professional, assured. He stops at a respectful distance and speaks evenly. It's Ashford, Darian Cole. We have a 9 o'clock meeting about the Series C investment. He extends his hand, open and steady. Victoria's smile dies instantly. Her eyes drop to his outstretched hand as if it's something dirty, something inappropriate, something that shouldn't exist in her space. For a split second, her face freezes, calculation flashing behind her eyes, and then she steps back, deliberately, pointedly, keeping both hands shoved deep into her coat pockets. Her expression hardens. "Excuse me," she says, her voice dripping with thinly veiled disgust. "Who let you in here?" The German investors fall silent. One of them shifts uncomfortably. The other glances between Victoria and the man standing in front of her, sensing something is off but unsure whether to intervene. The lobby seems too quiet, as if the space itself is listening. "This is a private meeting," Victoria continues, her tone sharp now, dismissive for serious investors. "Not for people like you." She looks Darian up and down slowly, deliberately, lingering on the polo shirt, khakis, the sneakers, as if his clothing alone confirms every assumption she's already made. "Security," she snaps, her voice carrying across the lobby. "Get this man out of here before I call the police." Darian lowers his hand slowly, not in embarrassment but in understanding. His expression doesn't change, but something in his eyes dims like a door quietly closing. "It's Ashford," he says calmly. "If you'd just check, I said get out." She cuts him off, her voice louder now, sharper, almost trembling with anger. "Get out. Before I have you arrested for trespassing." Two security guards rush over immediately, hands already hovering near their radios. Phones emerge from designer purses. Someone nearby lifts their camera a little higher, making sure they don't miss a second of this moment. Whispers ripple through the lobby like a current. Darian doesn't argue. He doesn't raise his voice, simply nods once, turns, and walks toward the exit with his head held high, dignity intact, even as the doors close behind him. The security guards escort him out, not roughly, but firmly, and within minutes he's gone. Victoria exhales, turns back to her guests, and brushes an imaginary speck of dirt from her sleeve, as if she has just handled something unpleasant. "Now," she says brightly, forcing her smile back into place. "Where were we?" She has no idea she just destroyed the only investor willing to save her dying company. 3 months earlier, Ashford Technologies was valued at $800 million. Today, that number on the balance sheet makes Victoria's hands shake every time she looks at it. Company is bleeding cash, burning through $8 million every single month. The bank account holds enough money for 11 more weeks. After that, there is nothing left. No safety net, no miracle, just bankruptcy. Victoria sits alone in her corner office on the 42nd floor, surrounded by glass and silence. Through the floor-to-ceiling windows, the San Francisco Bay stretches out, blue and indifferent, uncaring about ambition or pedigree. She's made this view her entire identity, proof that she belongs at the top. Stanford MBA, Fortune 40 under 40. TechCrunch's most promising founder 2 years in a row. Her father built a banking empire in the 80s. Her mother sits on 4 corporate boards. Victoria grew up in Pacific Heights, summered in the Hamptons, and never once worried about money, until now. She pitched to 23 investors in 8 months. Every single one said no. One email leaked to the press read, "Too arrogant." Another said, "Doesn't listen to feedback." A third warned of serious red flags about company culture. Victoria deleted those emails the moment she read them. She told herself they didn't understand her vision, that they were threatened, that they were wrong. But the numbers don't care about ego, and the cash keeps draining. There is only one name left on her list. Across the country, in a penthouse apartment overlooking Manhattan, Darian Cole pours his morning coffee. The space around him is minimalist. White walls, clean lines, a wall of screens showing global markets moving in real time. It's quiet, intentional, efficient. Darian grew up in South Chicago. His mother worked double shifts as a nurse, wore secondhand clothes, and studied under streetlights when the electricity got cut off. He earned a full scholarship to MIT, studied computer science and economics, and never wasted a moment. At 24, he built an algorithm that predicted financial risk better than any human analyst. Goldman Sachs bought his startup for $780 million when he was 26. Now, at 38, he runs Cole Ventures, managing $3.8 billion in assets. 47 investments, 43 successes, 4 failures. The Wall Street Journal calls him the most successful investor you've never heard of. He doesn't wear suits, never has. It's a test he runs on every potential partner. He wants to see whether people respect his ideas or just his bank account. His video screen lights up with 3 faces. Maya, his lead analyst. James, his CFO. Priya, his assistant. Boss, Maya says, her voice steady, I finished the Ashford Technologies deep dive. The tech is solid. The financials are a disaster. And Victoria Ashford has a reputation problem. Define reputation problem, Darian asks, taking a sip of coffee and setting it down when he realizes it's still too hot. Difficult to work with is the polite version, Maya replies. I found 3 anonymous Glassdoor reviews from former employees. All people of color. All describing microaggressions. All describing being passed over for promotions. James leans closer to his camera. If you invest, we're going all in. $500 million. That's massive exposure for an unproven leader, which is why I need to meet her in person, Darian says calmly. Lifting his coffee again. It's cooled now. Perfect. Numbers can lie. People can't, not face to face. Priya checks her tablet. I confirmed the meeting 3 weeks ago. 9 a.m. for Seasons Lobby, her assistant replied. Quote, Ms. Ashford looks forward to meeting Mr. Cole. Did you send my photo? Darian asks. Sent your full bio. Forbes profile, company overview, everything. Darian nods once. Good, then she knows who she's meeting. What he doesn't know is that Victoria never reads her meeting briefs. That's what assistants are for. She saw 9 o'clock a.m., investor meeting, and assumed whoever it was would be grateful for her time. She definitely didn't Google Darian Cole. If she had, she would have found 47 articles. She would have seen his Forbes 400 ranking. She would have read his Fortune interview where he said, I dressed down on purpose. Want to see if people respect me for my ideas or judge me by my clothes. But Victoria doesn't Google. Victoria assumes. And that assumption is about to cost her everything. At 8:45, Darian leaves his apartment. The morning air is crisp, sharp, energizing. His Uber is already waiting. At 8:50, Victoria is still in the Four Seasons lobby, charming to German investors who already told her no last week, convinced she can change their minds. She can't, but she's about to meet someone who could actually save her company, if only she would recognize him. Darian's Uber pulls up to the Four Seasons at 9:05. Market Street traffic was worse than usual. He texts Priya quickly. Running 5 min late. Let Victoria's office know. Priya replies instantly. Already did. You're good. He steps into the lobby. The air conditioning hits him first. That particular hotel cold mixed with the scent of expensive flowers and furniture polish. His navy polo is freshly pressed. His khakis are sharply creased. His white sneakers are spotless. He's dressed exactly how he always dresses for first meetings. Comfortable, authentic, real, and completely invisible to someone who only knows how to look at labels. Across the lobby, Victoria throws her head back and laughs loudly at something one of the German investors says, the sound sharp and polished, rehearsed rather than genuine. She's wearing a cream Chanel suit that probably cost $6,000. Tailored so precisely, It looks like it was molded onto her body. Diamond earrings dangle from her ears, catching the light every time she moves, flashing wealth with every slight turn of her head. Her hair is pulled back so tight it looks painful, not a strand out of place, as if control itself were woven into every fiber. The two German investors aren't laughing with her. They're glancing at their watches, subtle but telling. They have a flight to catch, and more importantly, they've already decided. They're done here. Darian walks toward them, leather portfolio tucked under his arm. He's rehearsed this moment in his head, not because he's nervous, but because he respects preparation. A firm handshake, a warm smile, direct eye contact. Courtesy first, business second. "Thank you for taking the time to meet Ms. Ashford," he begins. Victoria turns, her eyes land on him, and her smile doesn't just fade. It morphs, twists into something colder, sharper, edged with instant judgment. Her gaze drops to his polo shirt, lingers, then moves to his khakis, then his sneakers. Slowly, deliberately, her eyes travel back up to his face. Her lip actually curls. "Can I help you?" she asks. It's not a friendly question. It's the tone reserved for someone interrupting her day. Someone selling something she doesn't want. Someone who shouldn't be here. "Darian Cole," he says smoothly, extending his hand, his smile still intact. "We have a 9 o'clock meeting about the Series C investment for Ashford Technologies." Victoria looks at his outstretched hand. She doesn't move. Her own hands remain clasped tightly in front of her designer purse, fingers adorned with rings that cost more than some people's rent. "Cole Ventures, right?" Darian continues, keeping his voice warm, professional. "My assistant Priya confirmed with your office 3 weeks ago. Cole Ventures." Victoria repeats the name slowly, like she's tasting something spoiled. "I've never heard of it." One of the German investors, a silver-haired man with wire-rimmed glasses, clears his throat, shifting awkwardly. "Victoria, perhaps we should." She cuts him off instantly, raising one perfectly manicured finger without even looking at him. Victoria steps closer to Darian, close enough that he can smell her perfume. Something floral and expensive, heavy with confidence and entitlement. "I don't know how you got the address for this meeting," she says, her voice firm, rising just enough to draw attention, "but this is invitation only." "I was invited," Darian replies calmly, keeping his hand extended. "If there's confusion, you can call your assistant." "Jenny, right?" "She confirmed last Tuesday." "What I can see," Victoria says, her voice growing louder now, sharper, "is that you showed up to a business meeting dressed like you were going to a barbecue." The German investors exchange uncomfortable glances. The silver-haired man leans toward his colleague and whispers something in German. Does he know his name? The other man exhales quietly. "This is uncomfortable." "Ms. Ashford," Darian says, finally lowering his hand, his tone still respectful. "I understand this is unexpected, but unexpected?" Victoria laughs, a brittle sound with no humor in it. "What's unexpected is someone like you thinking you can just walk into a meeting with serious investors. Someone like you." The words hang in the air, heavy and unmistakable. A woman seated on a nearby couch looks up from her phone, eyes narrowing. A concierge behind the front desk stops typing, his fingers frozen midair. The lobby feels suddenly smaller, tighter, where Darian feels the familiar weight settle in his chest. He's felt it before. At MIT, when a professor assumed he was in the wrong classroom. At a restaurant in Boston, when the host asked if he was there to apply for a kitchen job. At a conference last year, when someone handed him an empty coffee cup and asked for a refill. He keeps his voice level. "I flew in from New York specifically for this meeting," he says. "If you'd just let me show you my credentials." "My credentials?" Victoria scoffs, contempt dripping from every syllable. "You mean whatever fake business card you printed at Staples?" She turns sharply toward the security desk. "Excuse me, can someone help me here?" Two guards begin walking over. One is an older black man named Jerome, his face already tight with discomfort, eyes betraying exactly how much he doesn't want to be part of this. The other is younger, white, with a military haircut and rigid posture, hand hovering near his belt. Darian tries one last time. "Ms. Ashford, there's clearly been a miscommunication. I'm a managing partner at Cole Ventures. We manage $3.8 billion in assets. We spoke with your CFO last month about potential investment terms." $3.8 billion? Victoria actually laughs. "That's right. And I'm the Queen of England." She looks him up and down again, slow and deliberate, making sure everyone watching understands her judgment. Let me guess. You saw the TechCrunch article about our funding round? You thought you'd show up? Talk your way into a meeting? Maybe network your way into something? The German investor tries again. Victoria, perhaps? No, she snaps, cutting him off without hesitation. This is exactly the kind of opportunist we have to watch out for in this industry. She finally locks eyes with Darian. I don't shake hands with people who lie their way into private meetings, and I definitely don't do business with people who can't even dress appropriately. The security guards arrive. Jerome looks at Darian with apologetic eyes, shame flickering across his face. The younger guard's voice is all business. Ma'am, is there a problem? Yes. Victoria points at Darian like he's trash on the sidewalk. This man is disrupting a private business meeting. He's not on any guest list. He's not invited. And he needs to leave immediately. Darian takes a slow, steady breath. He could pull out his phone. He could show her his Forbes profile. He could call James and have everything verified in seconds. But he doesn't, because this moment tells him everything he needs to know about Victoria Ashford. She didn't see a potential investor. She didn't see a businessman. She didn't even see a human being deserving of basic courtesy. She saw a black man in casual clothes and decided instantly that he didn't belong. I'll leave, Darian says quietly, calmly. No need for an escort. He looks at Jerome. Can find my way out. But Victoria isn't finished. Oh, you'll be escorted, she says coldly. Want to make sure you actually leave the premises and don't try to sneak into other meetings. She turns to the younger guard. Walk him all the way to the street. Make sure he doesn't come back. Yes, ma'am, the guard replies. Sir, if you'll come with me. The walk to the door feels like a mile. Every eye in the lobby is watching. The woman on the couch is definitely recording now. Concierge has completely stopped pretending to work. Darian keeps his head up, his steps measured and professional. Jerome walks beside him, not touching him, giving him space, sharing a quiet understanding that needs no words. At the door, just before stepping outside, Jerome leans in close to Darian. His voice drops to a whisper, heavy with something between shame and apology. Sir, he says quietly, eyes fixed somewhere just past Darian's shoulder. I'm real sorry about this. You're doing your job. Darian cuts in gently, offering a small nod. There's no anger in his voice, no bitterness, just understanding. Jerome exhales slowly, relief flickering across his face for a brief second before professionalism snaps back into place. Outside, the San Francisco morning greets Darian with sharp brightness and cold air. The city hums around him, oblivious. He stands on the sidewalk for a moment, hands relaxed at his sides, breathing deeply, letting his heart rate settle back into its familiar, steady rhythm. He's felt moments like this before. They never surprise him anymore. They only confirm. His phone buzzes in his hand. Priya, boss, what happened? Victoria's assistant just called saying you left. Darian looks up at the glass facade of the Four Seasons, sunlight reflecting back at him like a mirror. He types calmly. Change of plans. Cancel the LA meeting this afternoon. Book me on the next flight back to New York. There's a pause. Then another message comes through almost immediately. Priya, but the $500 million. Priya, Darian says into the phone when she calls, his voice gentle but firm, leaving no room for argument. I just got my answer. Book the flight. Inside the lobby, Victoria smooths her suit jacket as if brushing away the entire incident. She turns back to the German investors with a brilliant, polished smile, the kind she's perfected over years of boardrooms and galas. I'm so sorry about that interruption, she says lightly. You would not believe how many scammers try to crash these events. The silver-haired German doesn't smile back. His expression is tight, uncomfortable. Victoria, he says carefully, that seemed harsh. Harsh. Victoria waves a dismissive hand. Klaus, you have to be firm with these people, otherwise they think they can take advantage. The other German investor is already standing, picking up his briefcase. We should go, our flight. But we haven't finished. Victoria protests, her smile faltering slightly. We finished last week, Klaus says coldly. We told you no. We only stopped by to be polite. They shake her hand quickly, professionally, already half turned away. and walk toward the exit without another glance. Victoria stands alone in the lobby, watching them go. A small frown crosses her face, irritation more than concern. Then she shrugs, pulls out her phone and types a message. That investor who just left Cole, something. Make sure his information is deleted from our system. Don't want his type, thinking they can waste our time again. She has no idea that his type is the only person who is actually going to save her company. And in less than 3 hours, she's going to find out exactly who Darian Cole is. It's 10:30 a.m. Victoria's office on the 42nd floor feels unusually quiet. She's already forgotten about Darian Cole entirely. Numbers, decks, damage control, that's where her mind lives. Her assistant Jenny knocks once and steps in, clutching a tablet to her chest. Her face is pale. Ashford, Jenny says carefully, I need to ask you something. Victoria doesn't look up from her laptop. Make it quick. I have a board call in 20 minutes. The man at the Four Seasons this morning, Jenny says. The one security escorted out. What about him? You told me to delete his information from our system. Jenny continues, voice tight, but I wanted to confirm first. That was Darian Cole, right? From Cole Ventures? Victoria's fingers stop typing. So, Ms. Ashford, Jenny presses gently. Did you Google him? Something cold begins to form in Victoria's stomach. Why would I need to Google some random guy trying to crash my meeting? Jenny sets the tablet down on Victoria's desk. The screen lights up with a Forbes article. The headline is unmistakable. Darian Cole, the billionaire investor you've never heard of. Victoria stares at the photo. Same face, same calm expression. Same man she had thrown out of the hotel less than 2 hours ago. Her eyes move down the article. First the words blur, refusing to register. Then they snap into focus. Net worth, $3.8 billion. Cole Ventures, $3.8 billion in assets under management. Forbes 400 ranking, number 184. Track record, 47 investments, 43 successful exits. Board member, Apple, Microsoft, Tesla, 6 others. Her hands start to shake. Actually shake like she's holding something far too heavy. Jenny, Victoria whispers, her voice hoarse, barely audible. Tell me this is a different Darian Cole. Jenny scrolls. Another photo appears. Darian at a tech conference, standing beside Sundar Pichai. Another of him shaking hands with Tim Cook. Another from Davos, seated on a panel of global power players. In every photo, he's dressed casually. Polos, open collars, no ties, no suits. Victoria's throat closes. She tries to swallow. She can't. The meeting was confirmed 3 weeks ago. Jenny whispers, I have the emails. He's coming to discuss Series C, 500 million. 500 million. The number rings in Victoria's head like a siren. Without it, the company dies in 11 weeks. Oh my God, she breathes, then louder. Oh my God. She stands so fast her chair rolls backward and slams into the window. She grabs her phone, digs through deleted contacts until she finds Darian's number. Her fingers are slick with sweat. She wipes them on her skirt before dialing. The phone rings. Once, twice, 3 times. Voicemail. Mr. Cole, she says quickly, panic bleeding through her words. This is Victoria Ashford. I believe there was a terrible misunderstanding this morning. I would love to reschedule our meeting at your earliest convenience. Please call me back. She hangs up and immediately calls again. Voicemail, again. Jenny, Victoria says, her voice rising now. Get Marcus in here now. Marcus Brooks, the CFO, arrives 3 minutes later, holding a coffee and a folder of quarterly reports. What's the emergency? Victoria turns the tablet toward him. Investor we were supposed to meet this morning. The one I had security throw out, Marcus reads. His face shifts from confusion to shock to outright horror in less than 10 seconds. Please tell me this is a joke. Do I look like I'm joking? Marcus sets his coffee down. It sloshes over the rim, onto the reports. He doesn't notice. Victoria, he says slowly, carefully, please tell me you didn't actually have Darian Cole removed from the hotel. I didn't know who he was, she snaps weakly. He showed up dressed like a college student. He's famous for that, Marcus says, his voice rising. He literally wrote an offshoot about it in the Wall Street Journal. It's his whole thing. He doesn't wear suits. Everyone knows this. Victoria sinks back into her chair. The leather squeaks loudly. The sound makes her flinch. Can we fix this? She asks. Marcus pulls out his phone, scrolling rapidly. His jaw tightens. Cole Ventures was our only option. We've been rejected by 23 other firms. Cole was interested because of our tech. Spent 8 months researching us. 8 months, Victoria repeats faintly. So we apologize, she says desperately. We explain. He invests based on character. Marcus interrupts, looking up at her. He's said it in every interview. He doesn't care about pitch decks. He cares about leadership. About how people treat others. The room falls silent. And for the first time, Victoria Ashford truly understands what she's done. The words land like stones in Victoria's chest, heavy and unforgiving. She tries Darian's number again, fingers trembling as she presses call. Voicemail. She doesn't leave a message this time. There's nothing left to say that wouldn't sound desperate. Instead, she opens her laptop, the familiar glow suddenly harsh, and begins typing an email with shaking hands. Dear Mr. Cole, I want to sincerely apologize for the confusion this morning. It was a hectic day, and I failed to properly review my schedule. I would be honored to reschedule at your convenience. Our entire team is excited about the possibility of partnering with Cole Ventures. Warmest regards, Victoria Ashford. She reads it twice, wincing at how hollow it sounds, how corporate and bloodless compared to what just happened. Then she hits send. The soft whoosh of the email leaving her outbox feels final, like a door closing somewhere far away. Marcus is still scrolling on his phone, his expression tightening. Oh no, what? Victoria snaps, panic already rising. Klaus posted something. He turns the screen toward her. The German investor's tweet doesn't name anyone, but it doesn't have to. Witnessed a shocking display of unprofessionalism at a SF meeting today. How you treat people says everything about character. Hashtag business ethics. It already has 240 retweets. And climbing. Victoria's phone rings. She jumps, heart leaping into her throat. But it's not Darian. It's Richard, the board chairman. Victoria, Richard says, skipping any pleasantries. I just got off the phone with Klaus. He said, you threw someone out of your meeting this morning. There was a misunderstanding. He said you refused to shake the man's hand, that you called security. The man was Darian Cole. Silence stretches across the line, thick and suffocating. Richard, I can explain. Do you understand what you've done? His voice is cold now, ice cold. We need $500 million to survive. Cole was our last option, our only option. And you humiliated him in a hotel lobby. It was a mistake, Victoria pleads. I'm trying to reach him. Trying. Richard lets out a short, bitter laugh. Victoria, I've worked with Cole before on another deal. When someone disrespects him, he doesn't give second chances. Ever. It's not about ego. It's about values. The line goes dead. Victoria stares at her phone, then tries Darian again. Voicemail. She emails again, more desperate this time. Mr. Cole, I realized my behavior this morning was unacceptable. I would like the opportunity to apologize in person. Please give me a chance to explain. 1 p.m., no response. No response. 3 p.m. at 3:12. The Information publishes an article. Sources say, Victoria Ashford kicked out billionaire investor, mistook him for crasher. There's no byline. It's just sources familiar with the matter. But the details are there. It's exact words. It's exact timing. Someone saw everything. Victoria's phone starts ringing nonstop. Board members, other investors, her PR firm. At 4 o'clock, she's called Darian 15 times. She's sent 8 emails. She's even tried messaging him on LinkedIn. Nothing. No read receipts. No replies. Marcus comes back into her office around 5, his face drained. I reached out to James Cole's CFO. We worked together at Goldman years ago, and Victoria asks, already knowing. He said Darian made his decision the moment he walked out of that hotel. Marcus exhales. The investment is dead. Victoria's vision blurs. For a moment, the room tilts. She grips the edge of her desk to steady herself. But our employees, she whispers. 3,000 people will lose their jobs. Darian knows that. Marcus's voice is flat, resigned. He also knows it is not his responsibility to save a company run by someone who treated him like that. At 6 o'clock p.m., Victoria is still sitting in her office. The sun sets over the bay, painting the sky in deep oranges and purples, beautiful in a way that feels almost cruel. She opens her laptop again, this time not to email, but to read. A Fortune interview from 2 years ago. I dress casually to meetings on purpose. I want to see if people respect me for my ideas or judge me by my appearance. It's a filter. The ones who see past the polo shirt are the ones worth working with. A Wall Street Journal piece from last year. The worst thing about bias isn't the big obvious acts. It's the thousands of small moments where someone decides you don't belong before you even open your mouth. TechCrunch interview from 6 months ago. I've been mistaken for catering staff, security guards, janitorial workers. Each time I learned something about the person making the assumption. Victoria closes the laptop and puts her head in her hands. He tested her and she failed. Not quietly, not privately. She failed spectacularly, publicly with witnesses recording. Her phone buzzes again, not Darian. Text from her PR lead. Bloomberg is calling. They want comment on the incident. What should I tell them? Victoria doesn't respond. At 8 p.m., she tries Darian one more time. The call doesn't even ring. Straight to voicemail. He's blocked her number. She emails from her personal account. Mr. Cole, I understand if you never want to speak to me again, but I'm begging you to consider the 3,000 employees at Ashford Technologies who had nothing to do with my terrible judgment. Please. No response. At 10 o'clock, she's still in her office. The janitor knocks gently, asks if she's working late. She waves him away without looking up. At 11 o'clock, she finally goes home. She doesn't sleep. 2 o'clock a.m., she's sitting on her bed with her laptop, reading everything she can find about Darian Cole, his childhood, his mother working 3 jobs, his scholarship to MIT, the companies he's built, the founders he's mentored. She finds a video of him speaking at a conference for Black entrepreneurs. He's wearing jeans and a Stanford hoodie. He looks relaxed, happy, real. The system wants you to play by rules that weren't written for you, he says. Sometimes the most radical thing you can do is just be yourself. Show up as you are. If they respect you, great. If they don't, you just saved yourself years of working with the wrong people. The audience applauds. Darian smiles. Victoria closes the laptop. She sits in the dark of her Pacific Heights home, surrounded by expensive furniture and art she barely sees. She ruined everything, not because she made a mistake, but because she revealed exactly who she is. And Darian Cole saw it clearly. Day 2, 7 in the morning. Victoria stands in the lobby of Cole Ventures headquarters in Manhattan. She's wearing yesterday's cream Chanel suit. It's wrinkled. There's a coffee stain on the sleeve she couldn't tea-scrub out in the airplane bathroom. The red-eye from San Francisco was 6 hours of staring at the back of the seat in front of her, replaying every moment she wishes she could undo. She takes a breath and steps forward. No sleep, just the soft glow of a flight tracker burning holes into Victoria Ashford's eyes as the miles crawled down to 0. The cabin lights dim, but her mind refuses to. Every second replays yesterday, her voice, sharp and certain. Security. Cole Ventures rises from the street like a monument to certainty. 40 stories of glass and steel, polished to intimidation. The revolving doors whisper shut behind her, sealing her inside a world she once ruled without question. White marble floors stretch wide and cold, amplifying every footstep. Modern art abstract, expensive, soulless hangs on walls so clean they feel untouchable. The receptionist desk gleams, sculpted and minimalist, the kind of furniture that costs more than most people's cars. Victoria approaches. The receptionist is young, composed, flawless. Her name tag reads, Lisa, good morning. I need to see Darian Cole. Lisa's fingers freeze mid-keystroke, a pause just long enough to sting. Do you have an appointment? No, but it's urgent. I'm Victoria Ashford. A flicker of recognition, polite, controlled sympathy. Sorry, Miss Ashford. Mr. Cole only sees people by appointment. Please, Victoria says, lowering her voice. Just tell him I'm here. 5 minutes. That's all. Lisa hesitates, discomfort tightening her jaw. She lifts the phone, turns slightly away, speaks in a hush. Victoria can't hear the words, but she feels the weight of the glances thrown her way. Lisa hangs up. I'm sorry. Mr. Cole is in meetings all day. The words hit her stomach like a dropped elevator. I'll wait. He could be in meetings until 6, maybe 7. I'll wait. Lisa studies her, then nods toward a row of chairs by the window. 9 a.m., the chairs are designer, beautiful and unforgiving. Victoria sits anyway. 9:45. Employees pass. Some glance, some stare twice. Recognition spreads quietly. Whispers trailed behind tailored suits. 10:30. Lisa brings coffee. Are you sure you want to keep waiting? I'm sure 11 o'clock. Victoria's back aches. Her phone vibrates non-stop. 42 missed calls. 37 emails. Board members. Lawyers. Crisis managers. She silences them all. For the first time in her career, she chooses stillness over control. Noon. She steps outside. Orders roses from across the street. The expensive kind. Red. Unapologetic. Back inside, she writes on hotel stationery, no assistant, no edits. Mr. Cole, I made a terrible mistake. I judged you before knowing you. Please give me 15 minutes to apologize in person. Victoria, she hands the bouquet to Lisa. Please, make sure he gets these. I will. 12:30. Every elevator chime punches her chest. Hope rises, falls, rises again, dies again. 1 o'clock. Employees return from lunch, laughing, until they see her. Laughter cuts off. Conversations lower. Phones tilt discreetly. She feels it now. She's the story. The CEO of a multi-billion-dollar company sitting silently in a lobby for 4.5 hours. 1:45. Lisa approaches. Softer now. Ms. Ashford. Mr. Cole appreciates the flowers, but he's not available today. Please. Victoria's voice cracks, raw and unprotected. Please ask again. Tell him I flew from San Francisco. Tell him I'm not leaving until he gives me 5 minutes. Lisa swallows, makes another call. Longer, heavier, more glances. Finally, he'll give you 15 minutes. Conference room B, 4th floor. Victoria stands so fast the room tilts. Thank you. The elevator crawl feels cruel. Every floor a test of nerves. Conference room B is small. No windows. A table. 6 chairs. Darian Cole is already seated. Gray button down. Jeans.com. Rested. Unmoved. He doesn't stand. Ms. Ashford, please sit. Victoria does. Her hands tremble. She locks them together like they might run. Mr. Cole, I came here too. He raises one hand. Stop. His voice is quiet, controlled, dangerous in its restraint. Before you apologize, I want something clear. She holds her breath. You keep saying you didn't know who I was, like that was the problem. He leans forward. The problem isn't that you didn't know my net worth. The problem is you saw a black man in casual clothes and decided he didn't belong. Each word lands heavy, deliberate, inescapable. You refused to shake my hand. You called security. You humiliated me in front of 50 people. Silence. If I had been a 60-year-old white man in a suit, would you have done that? The question hangs. Would you? No, Victoria whispers. I wouldn't have. That's the problem, Miss Ashford. Not mistaken identity. Bias, tears fill her eyes. She doesn't wipe them. You're right. I'm ashamed. Darian leans back. You sat in my lobby for 3.5 hours? Yes. Yesterday. You had me removed in 3 minutes. The contrast cuts deep. I know, funny how perspective changes when you need something. The silence stretches. Her heartbeat roars. I'm asking for a second chance, Victoria says, for my company. For 3,000 employees who lose their jobs without funding. If you say no, I deserve it. But they don't. Darian studies her. 10 seconds. 20. 30. I'll invest. On conditions, her breath shatters. Anything. Don't agree until you hear them. He slides a paper across the table. Her hands shake harder with every line. Public apology admitting racial profiling. Independent cultural audit. Board diversity at 40%. Within 12 months, $5 million donation from her personal funds. 6 months of intensive bias coaching. Quarterly public progress reports. You agree to all of it, Darian says. Or I walk. This time I don't come back. Her reputation, her pride, her identity laid bare. But 3,000 jobs live on the other side. I agree. 48 hours for the press conference. My lawyers will draft the agreement. If the audit finds systemic discrimination, I pull out, and I make the reason public. She nods, barely breathing.
Ow.
One more thing. Darian stands. The meeting is over. This isn't punishment. It's change. Real change. You can't commit, say it now. I commit. She stands, legs weak. Thank you. He doesn't shake her hand. Not yet. Don't thank me. Thank the 3,000 employees. They're the only reason I'm doing this. He opens the door. Lisa will show you out. In the elevator, Victoria catches her reflection in the steel doors. She looks 10 years older than yesterday, but she can breathe. 48 hours? To do the hardest thing she's ever done, tell the truth. Day 3. Ashford Technologies headquarters. The press room is packed. Cameras, lights, heat pressing down like judgment. Victoria steps to the podium, no makeup artist, no PR polish, just truth. Her hands grip the cool wood, 40 lenses stare back. And for the first time in her life, she doesn't look away. She looks smaller up there, not physically. Victoria Ashford is still tall, still composed, but the room dwarfs her now. The podium feels wider than it should. The lights are brutal. 40 lenses stare without blinking. 3 days ago, she commanded rooms like this. Now her voice shakes. I committed an act of racial profiling. The word dies in the air. A camera flash explodes, then another, then a dozen more. The silence collapses into the mechanical clicking of shutters, capturing a fall in real time. I refuse to shake hands with Darian Cole, she continues, forcing each word out. A black investor who traveled across the country to meet with me. Her throat tightens. She swallows. I judged him based on his appearance and the color of his skin, not his credentials, not his character. The room is frozen. Ups. Pens hover. Fingers pause over keyboards. Ah. I called security on him, she says. I humiliated him publicly. That's when it lands not a scandal, but his confession. Her voice wavers. She steadies it with sheer will. There is no excuse. This was not a misunderstanding. This was not a stressful day. She looks up, meets their eyes. This was bias. A reporter in the front row types furiously. Another holds a phone inches from her face, live streaming every breath. I am committing to the following actions. She looks down at the paper. Facts are safer than feelings. An independent audit of our company culture. Mandatory implicit bias training for all executives. Our board will be 40% diverse within 12 months. A pause. I am personally donating $5 million to organizations that support Black entrepreneurs. She lifts her head again, forcing herself to hold the gaze of the room. I hope my failure can be a lesson, she says quietly. Success in business means nothing if we fail at basic human respect. The questions come like knives. Will you resign as CEO? Her chest tightens. For a fraction of a second, instinct screams fight. She ignores it. I will be transitioning out of the CEO role to make space for new leadership. When? Within 30 days. Do you think this apology is enough? No, no hesitation. Words are never enough. Action is what matters. I'll spend the rest of my career proving I've learned from this. What would you say to other executives who might have similar biases? Victoria pauses. Thinks not like a CEO, but like a human being forced to finally look inward. Examine yourself before you destroy someone else, she says. Your assumptions have consequences, real consequences, for real people. The moderator calls time. Victoria steps away from the podium. Her legs feel like water. Applause doesn't come in that feels right. By 5 p.m., the headlines are everywhere. Bloomberg, Victoria Ashford admits racial profiling. Commits to company overhaul TechCrunch. Ashford Technologies CEO takes accountability. After viral incident, the New York Times, when a billionaire is mistaken for staff, a reckoning in Silicon Valley that night, the board meets an emergency session. Victoria isn't invited. At 8 p.m., her phone rings. Richard, she answers. The board voted, the chairman says, voice flat. You're removed as CEO effective immediately. She closes her eyes. You'll remain on the board in a non-executive role for 6 months. After that, we'll reassess. Silence stretches. Who's the new CEO? She asks. Dr. Marcus Brooks, coup for 3 years. Marcus, brilliant, strategic, Asian American, quiet in board meetings. The man she passed over twice because he didn't dominate rooms the way she did. He'll be good, Victoria says softly. He better be, Richard replies. You put us in an impossible position. The line goes dead. The next morning, Darian Cole releases a statement through his spokesperson. I appreciate Ms. Ashford's public acknowledgement. Real change requires more than words. We'll be watching closely to ensure these commitments are honored. This is bigger than one incident. It's about lasting systemic change. That same afternoon, Cole Ventures officially announces the $500 million investment. The merger is approved. The company is saved, Victoria is not. Within a week, her world shrinks. Speaking invitations evaporate. Conference organizers send polite cancellations. 3 boards she sits on quietly ask her to resign. No explanations. None needed. Her LinkedIn profile updates automatically. Former CEO, Ashford Technologies. The word former feels permanent. She applies to join 2 other boards. Both reject her. Silicon Valley hums, with her name never to her face. At a fundraiser in Palo Alto, she walks into a room and conversation stops. People suddenly remember appointments they forgot. She leaves early, drives home on streets she's driven 1,000 times. Everything looks the same. Not redeemed, not forgiven, just changed. 6 months later, Ashford Technologies looks different from the inside. The executive floor holds new faces. The conference room where Victoria once ruled now hosts employee resource group meetings. The Diversity Council meets every Tuesday. Their recommendations go straight to the board, no filtering. No softening. Dr. Marcus Brooks stands at the front of the all-hands meeting. The auditorium is packed. Employees sit shoulder to shoulder, notebooks open, phones recording. Our independent audit is complete, Marcus says. His voice is calm, steady, unafraid. The results are difficult, but necessary. The first slide appears. Numbers fill the screen. 89% of executive roles previously held by white employees. Black employees promoted at 40% lower rates than equally qualified peers. 23 HR complaints about microaggressions over 3 years. 21 dismissed without investigation. The room is silent, heavy. This is who we were, Marcus says. He clicks again. New numbers. Diverse candidate interviews, up 67%. Promotion disparity gap narrowed to 18%. 0 HR complaints dismissed. 87% of employees report significant cultural improvement. Applause starts slowly, then spreads, then roars. In the back of the room, Victoria watches. She doesn't speak. She doesn't clap at first. She watches Marcus lead. Watches employees who once avoided her eyes now raise their hands, confident, unafraid. This is what leadership looks like when ego steps aside. And for the first time, Victoria understands that losing power didn't end her story. Finally told the truth. Netflix releases the documentary in month 2, Mistaken Identity, Race and Power in Silicon Valley. It opens without music. No narration, no context. Just grainy security footage from the Four Seasons lobby. Victoria Ashford stands rigid, heels planted like she owns the marble beneath her feet. Darian Cole faces her, calm, confused, hands relaxed at his sides. The angle is bad, but not bad enough. Her mouth moves. Clear. Sharp. Get this man out of here. The footage freezes. Title card. The documentary interviews 15 people. Former Ashford employees speak with their faces in shadow, voices digitally altered. I was the only black woman in engineering, one says, her voice lowered, flattened. At the holiday party, 3 different people asked if I was someone's guest. I worked there for 2 years, cut a black male product manager. I watched white colleagues with less experience get promoted over me. Every time I asked why, I was told I wasn't leadership material yet. He laughs once, bitter. That's code cut. A Latino manager? I was told I was too aggressive in meetings. My white colleagues who acted the exact same way were praised as assertive leaders. The pattern forms, relentless, undeniable. Then Darian appears. He sits in his Manhattan office, sunlight cutting across his face, the skyline sharp behind him. He's dressed casually, jeans, comfortable, grounded. This happens every day, Darian says evenly. To people without my resources, he looked straight into the camera. The difference is I had power, could demand accountability. Most people don't. They suffer quietly, or they leave. Victoria agreed to be interviewed. Her face fills the screen. She looks older, not styled. No armor. The filmmaker doesn't soften the questions. You understand that what you did was racial profiling? Victoria doesn't deflect. Yes, she says. I saw a black man dressed casually and made an instant judgment. I didn't see a person. I saw a stereotype and I treated him like one. A pause. Some people say you only apologize because you got caught. She exhales. They're probably right. Her eyes don't leave the lens. If Darian hadn't been a billionaire, I never would have faced consequences. That's the problem. The system protects people like me. Her voice breaks not theatrically, honestly, and it shouldn't. The documentary explodes. 12 million views in the first month. Business schools assign it. Harvard publishes a case study. Stanford hosts panels titled "Power Without Awareness is Dangerous." By month 3, the consequences turn legal. 3 former black employees file a discrimination lawsuit. Top-tier firm, 90-page complaint. Emails are projected onto the screen. Subject lines. Culture fit concerns not quite right for us. One email about a black candidate. Great credentials, but doesn't seem polished enough for our environment. Another about a promotion decision. Talented, but I'm not sure he projects the right image for leadership. The language is careful. The intent is not. Charts appear. Promotion gaps. Timelines. Qualified people passed over again and again. The case settles out of court. 7 figures, sources say. Victoria's personal funds. Her lawyers release a statement. Ms. Ashford acknowledges past failures in leadership and is committed to making amends. The plaintiff's attorney is blunter. Money doesn't erase harm, but accountability is a start. The industry reacts. 12 major tech companies announce internal audits, some voluntarily, others after employee pressure. VC firms begin requiring day metrics in portfolio reports, not optional, mandatory. Stanford GSB introduces a new required case. Ashford Technologies. When bias becomes a business crisis. A conference in Austin cancels 3 speakers after uncovering similar allegations. The letter reads, "We can't ignore these issues anymore." The Ashford case changed the standard. Victoria feels that shift everywhere. At a grocery store in Pacific Heights, a woman recognizes her. "You're Victoria Ashford," she says, loud enough for others to hear. "You should be ashamed." She walks away. People stare. Victoria abandons her cart. At a restaurant, the hostess checks the reservation. "I'm sorry, Miss Ashford. We're fully booked." The room behind her is half empty. Victoria sees the empty tables, says nothing, leaves, orders takeout instead. The moments pile up. Small rejections. Public recognition followed by judgment. Being evaluated and found lacking. It's a fraction of what people of color experience daily, but it changes her. She begins bias coaching. 6 months, intensive. Dr. Kesha Moore doesn't coddle. "You've been in tech for 20 years, she says during one session. "How is this the first time you're confronting your biases?" Victoria sits stiffly. "I thought voting Democrat was enough," she admits. "Donating to social justice causes was enough." Dr. Moore doesn't smile. "That's passive allyship," she says. What Darian experienced was active harm. Victoria's voice cracks. "How do I live with that?" "You don't live with it," Dr. Moore replies. "You live through it. By changing, not performing change. It's being changed." While Victoria shrinks, Darian expands. The Black Founder Fund grows to $250 million. 47 companies funded, 89% still operating. 2,300 jobs created. His TED Talk hits 18 million views. Titled, "Dignity Shouldn't Require a Forbes Ranking." One quote goes viral. "Respect shouldn't be conditional. You don't earn the right to be treated like a human being. You're born with it." Universities line up. Darian accepts 12 invitations. At Stanford, a student asks, "Do you regret investing in Ashford after what Victoria did?" Darian pauses, thinks. "I regret that it took public humiliation for change to happen," he says. but I don't regret giving the company a chance to do better. The 3,000 employees deserved that. Another student presses. Do you think Victoria really changed? Darian considers. I think she's trying, he says. And that's more than most people in power ever do. The documentary ends on a split screen. Left. Security footage Victoria refusing to shake Darian's hand. Right. Recent footage Victoria in a biased training room, listening, taking notes, silent. The contrast lingers. Not redemption, not forgiveness, just truth, then consequences. Accountability is not a moment. It's a practice. Fade to black. 1 year later, the same Four Seasons hotel, the same lobby. Crystal chandeliers scatter rainbow prisms across polished marble floors, but everything else is different. Ashford Technologies is hosting its annual investor summit. The space hums with conversation, 200 people filling the room. Suits beside sweaters, sneakers beside heels. It's different accents, different energies, different stories. No one looks out of place anymore. At 9 a.m. sharp, Darian Cole walks through the entrance. Charcoal polo, pressed khakis. A slim portfolio tucked under his arm. No entourage, no announcement. Victoria Ashford is waiting at the door, not networking, not posing for photos. Waiting specifically for him, Mr. Cole, she says, extending her hand. Thank you for being here. He shakes it. Firm, professional. Thank you for the invitation, Victoria. First name CERNed, not assumed. 12 months of quarterly check-ins, independent audits, difficult conversations. Okay, no shortcuts. No applause breaks. Just work. They walk into the main conference room together. The energy feels lighter than last year. People are laughing, talking easily. There's a sense of ownership in the air, not fear. Dr. Marcus Brooks steps onto the stage. 11 months as CEO.com/grounded. Welcome, everyone, he begins. This year has been transformational for Ashford Technologies. He clicks to the first slide. Revenue up 127%. The merger successful. The company thriving. Next slide. Employee satisfaction. 4.2 out of 5, up from 2.8 a year ago. But numbers only tell part of the story, Marcus says, scanning the room. The real change is right here. He gestures outward. Look around. This is what Ashford looks like now. The executive team stands. 10 people, 4 people of color, 5 women. 1 executive using a wheelchair. Intentional, strategic, real. Later, a panel discussion fills the stage. Darian and Victoria sit side by side. A Bloomberg moderator leans forward. Mr. Cole, 1 year ago, you were removed from this very hotel. Today, you're on this stage with the person who did it. How is that possible? Darian doesn't hesitate. Because Victoria did something rare, he says. She took accountability that cost her power. Not a statement, not a campaign. Sustained, painful work. He turns toward Victoria. That doesn't erase what happened, but it creates something new. The moderator turns to her. Victoria, what would you say to the woman you were a year ago? Silence. Then, I would say, your privilege blinded you, Victoria says steadily. You harmed someone because you refused to question your assumptions. It took losing everything to finally see. She looks at Darian. I'm grateful you gave this company a second chance. Right. But no one should need to be a billionaire to be treated with dignity. The applause is long, unforced, real. Backstage later. Just the two of them. Darian, Victoria says quietly, thank you for not walking away. I didn't do it for you, he replies. Honest, but kind. I did it for every black person judged before they speak. For every person of color who has to prove their humanity before their competence. She nods. I know. That's why it mattered. They shake hands again. This time it means something different. The numbers roll quietly across the screen. The Cole Ventures Black Founder Fund. $250 million under management. 47 companies funded. 18.9% still operating. 2,300 jobs created. Darian's TED Talk. 18 million views. Shown in 140 business schools worldwide. Victoria Ashford is no longer CEO. She's a non-executive board chair. She teaches 1 seminar per semester at Stanford. Unconscious bias in leadership. Not redeemed, changed, and sometimes that's the real work. Darian looks directly into the camera. A year ago, he says. A woman judged me by my skin color and my clothes. She refused to shake my hand. She had me removed from a building. Pause. She was wrong. Another pause. But here's what matters. She owned it. She didn't hide behind lawyers or PR. She did the uncomfortable work of change. He leans closer. This isn't a story about one bad person becoming good. It's about systems inside our companies, our culture, and our own heads. Systems don't change with apologies. They change with action. His eyes hold the frame. So ask yourself, when was the last time you made an assumption about someone before they spoke? Have you ever walked past someone's humanity to get to a transaction, a beat? If you had Victoria's chance to make it right, would you take it or protect your ego? Silence. Let it land. This story went viral because people like seeing power face consequences. But real change isn't entertaining. It's daily, it's uncomfortable, it never ends. The screen begins to fade. Examine your biases. Support diverse-owned businesses. Demand accountability where you work. Another beat. Share this story, but more importantly, share the lesson. Text appears softly. Have you ever been judged before you spoke? What would you have done in Darian's position? Drop your thoughts below, Darian says. Your story matters. The final words linger as the screen fades to black. Dignity is not negotiable. Respect is not conditional. Change is possible, but only if you do the work.